There you go. Is the mic muted or no? It should be working. There you go.
You change the visual side. There we go. There we go.
A pain in the ass. I couldn't continue that stream on a different device. It didn't give me the option. So, oh well.
So we moved over to the desktop.
And of course, no one came over. I think Thomas White was looking for an out. He didn't seem to want to answer any basic questions.
Yeah, I know. He appears to be a philosophical NEET, not a logistical NEET.
Oh, there he is. But if you want to continue explaining your backstory. Yeah, my brother was sick. I'm going to clean the bathroom after this. But it's like, well, I'm glad we had that nice little 4th of July.
Yes, we did. It was pretty good.
Okay, what were you asking Thomas White about? He and his brother bought a house. How long ago? We don't know.
Yes, and then you eventually bought your brother out.
How long ago? We don't know.
And yeah, okay, your girlfriend buys you food and alcohol. That's great, but who pays your electric bill and your property taxes? And if you haven't been working, how do you afford car insurance and gasoline and maintenance? How do you exist in this world without a job? Do you have enough savings? Are your savings running out? So now you got to sell the house? What's happening there?
This is the weirdest link I've ever seen. I guess now they're using words instead of all those Cubes, Merg, is that? Well, he's selling his house and he kicked his roommates out.
Okay, so you had how long did you have roommates and their rent helped you with the bills and whatnot?
No, we understand, but you own the house. You bought your brother out. You had roommates while your brother was there, or after your brother left, you had roommates to help you with the rent. You got rid of your roommates, but your girlfriend pays everything. She even like the mortgage or if there's mortgage or property tax bill, an electric bill, you just give it to your girlfriend to pay. About gas in the car, that sort of thing.
Now, how much older is your girlfriend than you?
You can come on and explain. He's a YouTuber, right? He should be used to talking to people.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, look at auto privated that one. That was stupid. Okay, hold on. I'll unprivate it. He's running out of money. Well, if we're still on in 30 minutes, by all means, we'd love to talk to you about this. Not rambling nonsense about golf. All right, let's see. I want to unprivate that other stream. I think I did. Because it was a mobile stream, so it auto-privates. No, where the fuck is it? It should appear in a minute, I hope. There it is. It's just called Occupational Click is Live. I don't know if there's a way to name it. That's what it auto names it. Close enough. I don't care. That was the first part of this 4th of July disaster. Look how sunny it was then.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so would you like to ask Thomas White?
So after you sell your house, where are you going to go to?
We continue the stream partly because of him.
Yeah,
now he's just going mum on us. Sorry, he's great.
Yes.
Well, there's not much else to say unless someone else wants to come on and tell us something. That was really our 4th of July, Yes. Well, I came down, I smelled something, barbecue, and then you'd already prepped everything, so I was like,
Yes.
oh, okay, that was nice.
Yes.
He wants to find somewhere to rent. Why don't you move in with your girlfriend? That's what. Yeah. Okay. No, we're not criticizing. What we're saying is you do have a house. You don't work. You had roommates who helped pay your way, but you got rid of them. Now, is your girlfriend actually paying your electric bill, your cable bill, your water bill, your heat, your mortgage or property tax? When those bills come in, you still pay from savings, or does she pay everything? I think he means he doesn't know where he's going to go, but we're just asking, how do you, there are a bunch of fees with owning a house.
How do you afford this world?
Hmm. %. Okay, so your questioning of Alex White seems to have gone. Okay, he's back. He seems to be in and out. He's one of those starlings who's, So wait, he's living off his girlfriend, or he's living on his savings, or what? Yeah, because if you're not working, all we're getting is if you're not working and you're not collecting any kind of government monies, you're living off of savings, but your girlfriend also pays for shit. Is what he was saying, or what did he?
Yeah, he said that his girlfriend buys some food and beer. Okay, but again, he had a good enough job
that he was able. He and his brother bought a house. He was able to buy the brother out. Maybe he had some roommates to help. Maybe, but even after quitting his job, we don't know how long he's been out of job. He had enough savings to live off of.
So yes, he has no reason being in need. He could have just kept his job and lived his life. Granted, he didn't have a wife and kids. That American dream was alone, but still, he's a philosophical need, not a logistical need. This guy has been physically attacked. I just have a bunch of crap jobs, can't afford. We need to need. Thomas White doesn't need to. James Moore doesn't need to. They could just go get jobs and work if they want to. They don't really get harassed. Oh, wow.
Right. So you had enough savings. Your job was that good. That's not a criticism. I'm happy for you. You had enough after you enough in savings that you were able to coast for 2 years. Did you have roommates as of 2 years ago? When did you get rid of your roommates? Because roommates, that's extra income. But for 2 years, you've been out of work. So you had enough savings to live off of 2 years, or
it was savings and
savings and what? Yeah, you might have had another job that you're.
It was savings and roommates probably.
Don't guess. We'll ask them.
Yeah.
Amia Banks, you haven't shown yourself in a while. Maybe you'll get your hero Thomas White to come on because he's a little nervous. This Thomas White guy is not used to being on the internet the way you and I are, Amia Banks. Okay, so you had the job, you had roommates. What other multiple sources? And how long have the roommates been gone? So you have multiple streams of income.
Yeah, your answers only provoke more questions.
Apparently, that's the invite link now. It's a word like Koobsmerg. I didn't make that up. It's just what they assigned. Okay.
Yes.
Oh wait, he's 40.
He's 25.
25 years. Did he have a roommate when his brother was there? I mean, they both bought the house. Did the brother ever live there? Did they the brother helped him buy the house? The brother never actually lived there, or he moved out years ago. He said yeah.
Before they bought the house, he had roommates.
Didn't he say that's right? Where the hell did Dumb go? What time is it in Sydney?
Yes.
It's probably like, midnight. No, actually, no, wait. No, it's middle afternoon, right? Yeah, it's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
How are you, Damon Wolf? It's been a while. The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it does.
I think he remembered us from Todd Stream a few years back.
Okay.
I think that's the guy.
All right, then.
It was my brother. Yes, we're brothers. We live together. I don't mind telling you our story, but we've told it enough times now that I don't really want to repeat it right now. We're learning about Thomas White and his roommates and his sources of income. Speaking of which, what do you always say about me? He's saying acceleration.
Oh, yeah. He accelerates the deceleration of things.
Things break faster when they're in my head.
Yeah.
Things that should have lasted years break in a couple of years. I accelerate the deceleration of things.
Yes.
Oh, I'm still at it. I'm waiting for a settlement from this lawsuit with this company. And then after I get that money, I think it's time to apply for SSI and then eventually get SSDI. I also like to hopefully get a job like delivering pizzas under the table so I can have extra income the government doesn't know about. But that's a whole.
That's what he hopes to do and why he needs to need. If you have a nice job in manufacturing, which allows you to buy a house,
and no one's trying to kill you or get you fired.
You don't need to need. Think about needing.
Wow. We just started the stream. We're already winding down.
Yes, we are.
Right. So we got Unwanted seems to be kind of like us. Well, he comes from money, but he's basically a loser who's having trouble even in the workforce. Thomas White had a really good job. He still doesn't answer our questions.
I know.
What are your other? Okay, you had a job. You had roommates. What are these other sources of income? Because now you say you're running out of money. You haven't worked in 2 years. When was the last time you got rid of your roommate? In a way, okay, you sold some of your stuff. That's great. He sounds a lot like dumb. Like he's living in a shell of a house. It sounds like dumb. The girlfriend's taking care of him. But yeah. I actually agree with Unwanted. I need you guys to work to funnel, to fund Social Security.
Yeah.
I'm just looking back at the other stream real quick because it's kind of slow here. Look how I'm kind of fat. Wow, I'm bloated.
Yes, as well.
I don't feel fat, but then I see like how my stomach bulges. My God, am I fat? I didn't even tell me I'm so fat.
I'm fat.
Well, the camera adds 20 pounds. Dumb said I wasn't that fat in real life.
And you still need to lose 30. So.
That would make a good picture. I like that.
Yes.
Looks kind of fruity, but I like it. Should I make that the picture?
Yes. Look at that tubby guy.
I'll make that the picture. Unless you want to make one of you the picture.
Nah.
I'll show the starlings that and we'll get back to this nonsense. I'll show you that in a minute. I'm going to show you later.
Yes.
Right now, we got to do this. But we're going to grill, I'll call it.
Yes.
I'll pull that up. Why not? Okay, so what's going on here? Well, you still need money. So even if you're, I struggle. People want to get rid of me, basically. People want to eliminate me. Okay, so you still, even though you haven't worked, that's what we're asking. You haven't worked in 2 years. Been 2 years since you had a job, but you still had roommates as of a few months ago.
Yes.
So you still had that, even though you've been out of work for 2 years, you still had rental income up until a few months ago. Okay. And what made you want to kick him out? You were trying to sell the house? Dog Pill, you want to go into the timeout? He's saying I'm chub. Me.
Whoa.
Hey, Dog Pill saying I'm chubby. Me. Right. Well, he didn't wait. This is why we asked the questions. He didn't work for 2 years, but he did have roommates, so that's some income.
Yeah.
The girlfriend apparently pays for things. How long has she been paying his way? How long have they been together? Right. Unwanted had money and lost it by, Open this up. I'll make that the picture. By the way, what do we think? Hold on. There we go. Should I make that the picture for the grilling one? Me in a very position.
Yes.
Or when a brother click with that green arborvitae behind him. I don't know, one or the other, or the grill. I don't know. Just wanted to share that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but in the meantime, you got a house, which if you don't sell will get repossessed. It'll be, what do you call it? Foreclosed. So, you're not ready to be homeless bum yet. You kicked your roommates out. You sold your stuff. Your girlfriend pays some of it. Do you still have enough savings to last for a few months? It sounds like,
Well, it sounds like you're going to sell that house.
Right.
And then they'll live off of that sale, I guess.
Wise beyond your years, unwanted. Like, if Thomas White had a lot of money, like he made millions or hit the lottery, then yeah, he could just basically be retired and play golf all day. But it doesn't sound like that's the case. And it sounds like he hasn't worked in 2 years and he hasn't had roommates in a few months. And the girlfriend only pays so much. He's going to eventually, Maybe that should be our background picture. What do you think? Oh. Oh shit! I don't want to skip it. I wanted more green. I'm doing art projects. We'll go back to the chat in a minute.
I'll get another beer.
All right. Okay, where were we? Yeah, and if you're anything like me, at 40, my parents didn't die. My father had a stroke, and my mother, of course, was already useless. And I had to become basically their caregiver and get them into a senior place. So, yeah, your parents can actually become a burden when you're my age. When you're middle aged, your elderly parents become like a burden to some of us, like with me. And they're ingrates. That's a whole other story. Oh, we're still talking about you. I started streaming. I'm trying to figure out. Let me think about this. You have to go back to my first stream. I used to be active on, because I don't go to a lot of places, but I used to like going to Dumb Stream. I was watching Dumb since before he was even streaming. And before I was watching Todd, I like those two. And I decided, let me stream. My goal was eventually to make videos and tell my stories, some of my like workplace stories, which I'm getting closer to. I keep procrastinating because everything has to be just so. But it's also a way to socialize. And so a lot of the starlings, I call them starlings from like Dumbstream, flew over here. So it is a way to socialize and also spread ideas. And, I've had guests on and just talk about things and ask people questions and compare lifestyles and whatnot. We're getting some interesting people.
Yeah.
Hi, Work Bronson. Where the hell have you been? I posted a link saying we were coming over here. Where the hell have you been? Why is this like doing this weird?
Because it's fucked up.
That's pretty good. How do I get rid of that? How do I get rid of that fucking line there? Make it play. Let's try it. See how that looks. I can always edit this later. Let's see. Yeah, maybe that one. Oh, and I had a question, preferably for Cassandra if she's still here. I need a woman's advice, and she's the only woman. So where's Cassandra? I have a question for her while we're waiting. Because Thomas White, we'd like to come on and talk to you. I was telling, I don't know if you know who Dev Pike is. He comes on a bit, and I like talking to him, but I said I want some new blood. I was hoping Unwanted would come on, and if you want to come on, you never come on every time. I'd like to at least talk with you once. You're new blood, a new starling. So we'd like to have you on. Well, Damon, that's kind of what Thomas White is describing. He says his girlfriend is, did he tell us her age? He's 40. His girlfriend is much older. Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
He's got an older girlfriend, whatever that means, and she pays a lot of his, what she pays for his food or some shit, or
food and alcohol.
Alcohol, yeah. Oh, yeah. What should we use as, I boiled it down to two, as the thumbnail for the last stream, the one we were on the grill? Do you like this one that I showed? Or this one? Which one do you like better? I'm thinking him with the shades and the green behind him. So that, I'm like the eye doctor here, your eye exam. That or...
Do we do a mishmash of the two?
Yeah, answer the question, bitch. Oh, Christ. All right. Someone wants to come on. I'll bring him on. I'm happy to talk to him, but again, old blood. I wanted new blood. I wanted Unwanted or Thomas White to come on.
Well, Thomas White says he'll be home in 20 minutes. Whatever the hell.
Okay, all right. You can talk. Okay, let's wait for. Okay, all right. Hold on. I'm gonna bring this guy on in a minute. Hold on. Yeah, can put his name. Okay, give me a sec. Yeah, the shades. I kind of thought he looked like what's his name, Van Morrison. It's a marvelous night for a moon dance with the shades and a moon dance. Do. Can I just have one more moon? I'll find a picture of what I'm talking about. What's that? Is that just fireworks outside or how much of fizzing? Wait, the one of me or the one of Brother Click? Which one? For the thumbnail. You're talking that or the other one? Yeah, that's basically what he was telling us. He basically has an older girlfriend paying some of his way. He also has savings. He had roommates up until not too long ago. He owns the house, but he's trying to sell it. All right, so this is not Denmark Andy. This is not the cocaine. This is Denmark guy, Dumb's friend.
Yeah, good morning.
It's fireworks. Yeah, we heard some sound outside. Just fireworks. So yeah, it's 4th of July. It's our nation's in the USA. There's a national holiday, Independence Day. I don't know if you know that. So today's a holiday for us.
Okay, congratulations. It's not like the day for the niggers and shit. It's like a real.
No, this isn't the nigger day. This is the actual. Actually, I want to share a quick joke. There was a black TV show, a sitcom called Good Times. And it was on in the 1970s. And in 1976, they had the bicentennial, 200 years. And the neighbor lady comes over and she goes, "Yep, it's 1976. We're celebrating 100 years of freedom." And I said, "Well, don't you mean 200?" And she goes, 200 for them, 100 for us. But I was like, good times, 1970s, bicentennial. Never mind. Okay. Anyway, what's up, Denmark guy?
Yeah, I just saw that you started streaming a little bit earlier now, so I'm sleeping.
No, I came down. My brother bought a bunch of food. I don't know if you saw. There was another stream. You understand?
Yeah, I saw a little.
Right.
You were grilling.
So I said, you know what? I wasn't playing the stream today, but he had all that. I'm like, this is a waste. We got to document this because he had steaks and he took the time. I didn't realize he took the time to make the burgers from the ground beef hamburgers and all the stuff. So I'm like, well, okay, you took a lot of time doing this, and yeah, we already had. Yes, we had the nigger day on June 19th. Today's the real 4th of July.
So do you think that in Europe we will also have the day for the niggers soon and all the browns and shit?
No, you're gonna have some Muslim holiday that'll become official everywhere.
Yeah. That shit has already happened. That shit has always slowly happened.
By the way, real quick, for a thumbnail for the last video with the barbecue. Do you prefer this one of me? You see this one of me, this one, or this one of my brother? Let me see. Where's the one of brother? Click. Hold on. I want his opinion because Cassandra didn't give us an answer. Which do you prefer? Me going or my brother in the shades? Which do you prefer? I narrowed it down to those two.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know. I haven't seen the video, so I don't know.
You have eyes. You have an opinion. You can have an opinion.
But have you lost a little bit weight compared to when you visited them?
Absolutely. I'm skinny as a rail. My brother will tell you, right?
But I think we should make you happy and put your slimmer face on the video then.
Can you hear that?
If I can hear I can't hear. No, I can hear it. No.
Oh, you can't hear in the background. There's like firecrackers going off. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm actually if Dom is listening to this, I saw he commented. I would like him to just join StreamYard for 1 minute so we can add each other on that fucking session app because by mistake I deleted you. That's why I haven't texted you. That is actually why I came on. Yeah. So Dom, please come on for 1 minute.
Oh, I'm just a go-between, so you can talk to Dom on a session. Well, first, before we do that. What is the name of this app? Because maybe I'll add them too. We can all add each other. How do we add each other on the session app?
Yeah, so you just take your phone. If the app is available, I've only used it on phone, but it's available on Windows and Apple and all.
I'll down. What's the name of the app? My phone's charging. What's the name of the app? Session or Sessions or
Session with 2 S's. SESS. No, let me see. What the fuck is the name?
Oh, this is how it's spelled in English. Yeah, but sometimes these apps have funny names. Is it spelled the proper way or?
It's proper way. I'll just send you the link here. Yeah, to all the faggots listening, if you want to go on this encrypted app, that it is okay. It's nearly as good as Signal, but it doesn't require a phone number, so there's some more privacy.
Okay, so are you going to share what your name with us, or how do we? If we can't use phone numbers, how do we identify each other? How do we match up?
You have a special long number. So my name is this shit here. I don't mind if you put it on.
Okay, well, put it on, and I'm gonna, and then Dom can come on and give us his. So we don't have your phone number. We contact you through your username. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, my username is that long string number there.
Oh wow, that's a long one. Okay.
But you can just copy paste it. If you copy it and send it to your email, you can take it on your phone and copy paste it.
Yeah. Let me open that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do right now because I'll forget. My phone's charging. I'm going to open up a little Word document, copy paste this shit. And when I download the app later, I'll take care of that. I'll copy paste or I'll email it to myself. We're going to get a little. Okay, hold on. Oh, we're learning something. Sessions app, buddy. What do you think, buddy?
Okay, there's something else to check into.
We're going to sing real quick. And Cassandra, you can have this one. Oh, here I go again. The rendezvous never seem to end. Know where I'll be. Make this confession. Back in her bed, another goddamn session. I'll never learn session. God knows I'll try session. Keep coming back for session, and I don't know session. I'll never see session. I'll never see session. Tell me why the session's got a hold. The session's got a hold. Wow, we're rusty. That's Session. That's off the Offspring's their second album before they got really famous. The Offspring Session. All right, let me copy paste this long-winded number and let's see if we can get Dumb. Unless Dumb is watching, he can just
Yeah, or you can. Yeah, I'll try. Yeah.
Gazoon tight there, buddy. You're sneezing. Wow.
Yeah. It's summer. It's summer in Denmark now.
Wow.
I need to go on all these pills and sprays and you don't suffer from allergies at all.
Nope, not really. No, not that I can think of. Do you?
I don't think so.
Our mother and sister did. Our mother had bad allergies, and our sister, but no, I never. I could always eat whatever I wanted, breathe whatever I wanted, cut the grass. I've had a lot of problems in life, but I never have to worry about what I ate or what I cut in the grass or anything like that. No, I don't have allergies.
That's nice. That's nice.
Oh yeah, did Dumb want to come on? I mean, where's that link? Hold on, give me a sec. Yeah, the links are much easier now. So you're giving me a long string of numbers. These StreamYard links are like words. So let's take a look. StreamYard.com/cubesmerg. Okay. Is Coop. So, yeah, if Dumb wants to come on briefly and say hello. And we're hoping Thomas White would come on. We're learning more about Thomas White. It's a fascinating backstory. Do you know much about Thomas White? I've heard the name bandied around, but we never really met.
Well, are you asking me? I'm quite aware about who he is, and for me, he's like I'm not trying to admire him too much, but for me, he's like one of the a guy to look up to. He's like
well, if you stick around, he said he'd be on in about 20 minutes. You want to talk to him?
But I don't want to take his time, and he probably sees me as a retard or something, but I would be respectful. I have respect for him.
So in other words, you have no problem talking to OC or Brother Click. You have no problem. You have no problem talking to Dumb. But oh my God, when Christ himself, Thomas White approaches. Oh, okay, I see how it is. All right, okay, wow. I guess we should be honored. This guy wants to.
No, but I see Thomas as this guy like what is it called? Hell by the Dashboard Light. He's approaching slowly the same category. But of course, Hell by the Dashboard Light, he will always be in a category by himself.
I don't watch his stuff, but I know who he is, and I was never impressed with Hell by the Dashboard Light. Never like any of this crap. Always going on. He's gonna move to Germany, this and that. It's all just a bullshit pipe dream. I never cared for Hell, but Thomas White, from what I've seen, seems like a nice guy in the chat here. Hell by the Dashboard Light, that guy's a weirdo.
Yeah. But there's something godly about Hell by the Dashboard Light. Because it's like it is so unique.
Okay, I'll give it that. It's unique. Okay, yeah.
It's extremely unique. You can't really. He has his own niche, and I remember that I actually subscribed to Hell by the Dashboard Light to watch his live streams, because he goes live and then he doesn't upload the shit after, so you need to see it when he goes on.
When it's live, yeah, you miss it, yeah.
But after a while, I unsubscribed from Hell, because it's kind of like the same shit, all the time. But yeah, Thomas White, I can't be on his channel that much because I want to say this in a respectful way. I would love to say it while he's here. Now,
I'm not sure. Here's weird. Just before you came on, both Thomas White and Dumb were active in chat. They both appear to have gone bye-bye, flown away. But you gotta go ahead, speak your mind. What's up?
Yeah, but the reason why I've not been on his channel is because I can only listen to his shit, his channel, for like small bits at a time, because
you're talking about Hell by the Dashboard Light.
No, Thomas White.
Oh, Thomas
White.
I
respect for because if I get hooked to his channel, I will go crazy. It's a little bit too dark, I would say. If you interact a lot with the normie world, if you have a job or you go out and you have friends, you can't just listen to Thomas White all the time, because there's a lot of freaks. It's a bit freakish on his channel, I would say. But I respect it. I've learned a lot on his channel from his guest. But it's like it's 4 a.m. at the bar every night at his channel. And I would have a blast.
I'm sorry. Is it his content, or is it the people who are on? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's actually not him. It's all it's the content and the people. It's basically 4 a.m. at a bar where people are like all the interesting weird people, and that is nice. That is nice. once a month for me, maybe, but not like every week. I'm respectfully saying that I enjoy it, but I can't binge watch it as I do with other channels.
Okay, well, a couple things. First of all, to answer your question, the grill was pretty good. We have plenty of food for the next couple of days. It was good. Thank you. Now, I don't know if Dumb is here, but Donna's here. So if you want, Denmark guy, you can tell Donna, his lady love, your problem is you deleted his session ID or something? Or?
Yeah, so Donna, I deleted Dom on the app that we communicate through. So I would like him to come on StreamYard, because there's a private chat on StreamYard where he can copy paste my ID, this ID, but he can copy paste it in text form if he joins the chat here, and he can send it to his email and copy paste it into the session.
Basically, yes, Dumb can go on his phone. He can copy paste this number that I just put up here, this number from the chat, into sessions, and then he can like get back in touch with Denmark guy. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. That is definitely correct. So and then also if anyone else who's not a freak wants to communicate, they can communicate.
Well,
through
look,
that.
I copy pasted to a notepad. When I get to, don't be offended. It might take me a while, but eventually when I download it, I'll add you, and then I might not be on it because like a few people say, I'll do the accent. I got someone in England saying, "How come you ignored me on Discord, bro?" It's not you, man. I just didn't log on. Don't take it personally. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, but I'll eventually add you too.
Yeah. It's up to you. You choose yourself. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
he's in the garage. Hey man, he might not be able to work a job, but Donna's putting him to work. He's clearing out the garage.
Yeah,
he's doing something. Yeah, you know it. You know it.
Yeah, you go, girl. You go. Yeah, put him to work, and so he doesn't get fat.
I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. You can talk to either Denmark guy or Damon Wolf real quick. See what this is. I know you're getting a little tired, but yeah, we'll.
Yeah, I agree with Demon Wolf that I respectfully criticize it that with my with who I can't binge watch it. I can listen to it once in a while, and I get a lot of great information, intellectual information that I can research further. You know, about the Jewish question and stuff, because every time you speak about the JQ, it has this schizo. A lot of people speak about it in a schizo way, but I think that more and a lot of people are embarrassed to talk about it. But I think Western Decline, and I can't remember Dismal, but Western Decline, he actually comes with some better examples that hooks you on to the question, that hooks me as a normie further into the question. But sometimes it still gets a little too like schizophrenic. But I think that is one thing I've learned from Western Decline. But you know, I respect Western Decline as well, but it gets too dark sometimes for me with his rants about different topics. You know, so. But,
yeah, I've never been to Thomas White's channel, but I think I'll go there next couple of days, check it out, see what it's all about. He seems interesting. I guess it's a little too much for you, but maybe I might be able to digest it more.
Yeah. You should, I highly recommend his channel. Yeah, he's a great. He has this.
Christ, I'm hearing all this. It's like a love fest for Thomas fucking White here. I couldn't even get a straight answer out of him about his. Okay. Okay. So what is Dumb doing in the garage? That's more interesting to me than.
But look what Donna says.
Yeah. James gets bored if he doesn't have. This is what we talk. You were saying this. My brother, if you were watching me in the last stream, was saying this. Basically, he's a worker bee. He needs to. You know, he doesn't have a job.
He needs to work. Even when he doesn't have a job, he has to work. So the neat life is not for him. It never was. Never will be.
It's I think it's a white man thing. It's a white man thing that you always white people in general, no matter where they're always productive, and you know other people would like just crank up loud music and shit, you know.
True, but I'll admit something. I don't want to be productive anymore because I feel like I was productive and I got nothing for it. I was like the workhorse from the Animal Farm novel, and it's like fuck it, I just can't be bothered. Dumb was one of those people who never had that problem. He was all he had no problems in the work world, and it just he couldn't get a girlfriend, so he was upset. But even when he didn't have a job, he needed to give himself a job. So yeah, see it.
But that is because it's because, as Winston the Klein would say, you are basically a mutt. You have some non-white genetics or some shit. That's
So
like the 2%. The 2%.
Oh yeah, so
2%.
Right. Only what the Scandinavians can be true blue white people. Is that what you're trying to tell me here?
It's the 2% Senegalian or Gambian. You have It's the whole it's where you got the ADHD and you can like control yourself and shit, you know.
Perhaps. No, I think it has more to do with how a person is treated. Like no one harassed Dumb for being himself. Me, I would try to work as okay, you don't like me socially. At least I can be a hard worker, and you can see that I have value. That didn't work. They just took advantage of me, and you wanted to work me harder. Crack the whip. So it's like, well, fuck this. Resentment is bred in these situations. But Dumb is not a Sperg. He's basically a failed normie, like DBF. They're failed normies. They don't have that Sperg aspect, which is part of the social problem. So Dumb never had the social problem.
But I just think it's typical male thing that when men always have a list of shit they can do, like repair the bikes, some shit like that. But the list, it's not maybe it's not unlimited. The list, so.
What have you fixed lately, Mr. Aryan God? What have you done?
But I have a bike, but I can't fix it forever. It's somewhat functioning. So we bike a lot. We bike a lot in Europe, I think, in general. Do you have a bike?
Maybe there might be an old bike in the garage somewhere that I could try to fix, but I don't care about bicycles anymore.
Yeah, but it's car culture in the US. You need a car, so it's somewhat understandable. Yeah.
Yes.
Have you started? Did you eat some vegetables?
Not today. Today was a carnivore day.
Yes.
We didn't have any vegetables. We had some steak, had some burgers. We didn't have the chicken yet. We might have that with barbecue sauce tomorrow. But did you get more broccoli or?
Yeah, I got broccoli.
Tell me again. When you ordered that broccoli,
I have broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. I want to mix them with olive oil, salt, and pepper. Roast them in the oven. So I'm going to do a veggie roast the next couple days.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. So, is that a dish that you cook at work often?
Yes, that's what inspired me. Because where I work, they make vegetables as side dishes, and that's what they do. It's just salt, pepper, olive oil in the oven, and then it's good to go. So I want to try to do that myself.
How long are you in the oven for? About?
I never paid that much.
What's the temperature?
The oven's really, really hot. The oven's like over 400. Yeah, I guess about an hour, maybe. Hour at 400.
Yeah.
So next time, pay a little more attention. He wants to try this. He says it comes out really good.
Yeah, because I do taste the food whenever I get a chance. It's pretty good. Like, I never liked asparagus, but I do enjoy eating the asparagus that we have because
it's roasted in this olive oil,
salt, and pepper. Yeah, it's not the asparagus that I like. It's the olive oil and the seasoning. So
yeah, that's nice. Just remember to eat the fucking vegetables that you like. If you don't like it, then don't fucking eat them. There's so many.
No, I do like vegetables. It's just like after cooking a steak, I don't feel like heating up water, and it's like, man. I mean, it's simple, but after all making the steak and all that shit, I'm like, fuck it. So it's not that I don't like vegetables. I'll eat them. It's just,
Yeah, I fully understand. There's a huge increase in colon and stomach gastric cancers in the West right now, and you don't want to die of that disease. That's a horrible death.
Totem claims that meat doesn't make you fat, so this is more of an artery clogging thing.
But I think that I'm not an avid supporter of the carnivore diet, but I think the carnivore diet has brought a lot of attention to people's people cannot tolerate a broad range of vegetables, spices, and shit. So
Right, and all the the waste in the colon that screws up their torso, so it has that double effect of fucking everything.
yeah, yeah. So yeah. I agree that the carnivore shit it is a little bit weird for me, but it brings some good stuff.
On a side note, Dom, this is interesting. Donda is saying put corn on the cob. A potato, sure. Corn on the cob. I would after shucking the corn, I would boil that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it on. Well, we did grill once on like your indoor grill.
Yeah.
I really don't care for corn on the cob on the grill. That has to be like boiled and heated up, and then you put butter on it. I don't. Do you guys eat corn on the cob or maize in Europe? They even have it. That's more,
No, yeah. We do eat it, yeah, but we don't have a name for it as you have corn on the cob. No, we don't have a slang name for it. But we do eat maize with butter and
yeah. These here, we'll use these pictographs. Yes. The first one is what we call corn on the cob. The other is a potato. They're saying put that on the grill. We don't usually put corn on the cob on the grill. After you shuck it, shucking is removing all the green and the silt. After shucked, you usually boil it in hot water. Yeah.
I personally associate it with grilling.
Okay, well everyone's disagreeing with me here, so we got to. All right, next time we'll get some corn on the cob, put it on the grill. You people win.
All right, we'll give it a shot.
Want me to get it? You got it? You okay? Are you pissed? All right, you want to grab a beer or should I grab it?
I'll grab a beer.
All right. No, you got to shuck it. You can't cook it up with all the green still on it. What? That's nuts. You got to take all the leafy parts off. You just eat the cob. You don't shuck it? What the hell? You're saying put it in foil. What do? You put it in foil?
Yeah. That's correct. Yeah. But we don't really eat it a lot in Denmark. But yeah, I do it as the same way Thomas is saying. Yeah, it's a Scandinavian genetic thing, I guess. We understand each other across the world.
Oh, is Thomas White? He claims to be an Aryan Scandinavian.
Yeah, he says that he's Scandinavian, I think, but I'm not sure.
Oh, he doesn't show his face?
You should come. You should visit Scandinavia and see if he feels his genetics are like at a home or something like that.
What I mean, I come to Scandinavia. You say what? I belong in an oven or something. I mean, would you welcome me with open arms, or say go back to Lapland? You filthy, Sammy.
I would guess that you probably you miscegenated white race, but other than that, I definitely you have to have at least a quarter Scandinavian in you.
Absolutely. So you say it.
A minimum a quarter, but I think there might be some Baltics and maybe a little Eastern Europeans.
Yeah,
the dark hair, and because it's like you have a mix of the Scandinavian humor is really, really dark and it's really direct, but
absolutely.
But then again, Scandinavian people are at the same time a little timid. They're timid and respectful, and you are maybe lacking the timid shit. So I think that the Eastern European has removed that or something like that. So,
what do you make a brother clique? We're brothers allegedly. We have the same parents allegedly. Unless my mother had an affair, but yeah,
he might be more Scandinavian. He might have inherited a more
Scandinavian DNA because you never get. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So Donna is going to work, so you can give James your number or whatever your long thing if he comes back. I don't know where your hero, what's his name, Thomas White went, but yeah. So we're basically waiting on someone here. Yes, Viking Chads, yes. I want to pump you up. I'm not sure. I'm hearing. You probably can't hear it. I hear it's probably more fireworks, but it might be thunderclouds. It might rain tonight. I'm waiting for Brother C to get me another beer, and we'll see where this goes. But yeah, so okay, so I strike you as dark humored, but not as timid as a Scandinavian. I thought Scandinavians were Viking warriors. What do you mean they're timid folk? Then again, they give out. You guys give out the Nobel Peace Prize, so I guess in a way, you are more timid now.
Yeah. Can you light up fireworks all year round in your state?
It's funny. this state was actually anti-fireworks. Fireworks were legal here for the longest time. They quasi-legalized them. Jersey is not known for fireworks, but other states, you can just set them off all year if you want. People set them off at New Year's. So it varies state to state, Or there are people bring them in from other states.
For most of our lives, it was illegal to purchase fireworks in this state. So people had to go to other states to get them. A few years ago, that changed, and now you can. It's slowly catching on, but we're not really a firework culture in this state.
In this state, yeah.
But other states like Florida, you can buy them anywhere, whenever you want, and set them off.
Okay.
So it's a new phase in our existence.
Yeah. They also changed the law in Denmark, so now it's restricted. It's only at the winter.
Oh.
I think it's not. I think it's nice because there's less noise and more quiet and shit.
Now, this reminds me of like in the late 19th, early 20th, 130 years ago, they tried to classify different types of white people, the Alpines versus the Nordics versus the Celtics versus the, the Mediterranean versus the different, the Darnids. Okay, so I guess you guys, this whole Damon Wolf, Western Decline, Thomas White world that we seem to have found ourselves in tonight is very focused on who's whiter than whom, because apparently, apparently we're not white enough. Dumb is whiter than us. He's a hard worker. We're a little too. We got some Negrito in us because we're too lazy. So
but I'm not so much into it as probably some of the guys. But what are your favorite guests on my channel? Man, dude, it's the I can't remember. It's quite a long.
Denmark guy, have you ever gone on his channel? Have you ever been on his guest?
No, I've not been live on his channel.
You can talk to him right now. You can talk to him right now if he wants to come on. You can say hello to him.
If I don't want to take his time.
You can talk to. It's okay. I give you permission. You can talk to him for 2 minutes if you want.
You're quite the Thomas White simp. How did that happen?
Yeah, I just become this fanboy of Thomas White.
No, but I just think it's nice that I find these niche channels where they provide me with some valuable content. Also, your channel here, I think it's great socialization. And...
Don't try to patronize me now. Don't try to make. No, I'm no Thomas White, clearly.
But you need to. Yeah, I think the modern society, because 100 years ago, white people hated each other. Sorry, but we whites, we just hated. There's a lot of differences between whites. I just think it's weird from a European point of view to classify all European peoples as. Yeah, I get it. It's the same category of people.
Well, real quick, I want to tell you a theory I have. You might not like it, but here's a theory I have. Okay, in Europe, especially like in the medieval Europe or whatnot, most people never went more than 20 miles from where they were born and raised. You know what I mean? So most people never went too far. Most people married distant cousins effectively. The average European, forget about, a Dane marrying a German. Even in Denmark, someone from, Zealand wouldn't be marrying someone from Jutland. So it's like, you understand, people didn't travel too far, but all of the kings and queens and aristocrats were intermixed. Like the king of Poland would marry the queen of Sweden. The princess of Spain would marry the king of Austria. You know what I'm saying? So the peasants were hyper localized, whereas the royalty, the nobility, was intermixed between different European countries. Is that correct?
Yeah.
In America, the peasants of America accomplished what only the nobility of Europe did. In Europe, the peasants didn't go more than 20 miles. In America, it was like, okay, you're part Irish, part German, you're part Danish, part Swedish, you're part Romanian, part this. We're just white people. We're white Americans. We're not royalty, but like the royalty of Europe, they're all interconnected. In America, the peasant broke beyond the 20-mile bullshit boundary rule that seems to dominate in Europe. So in that way, the white American peasant is more comparable to the European aristocrat or noble than the European peasant. You understand what I'm saying?
You're more mixed. Yeah. Well, but it's funny.
Hey, listen! Don't take my word for it. Thomas White agrees. Now you got to agree too.
But in Europe, we are way more provincial, if that word makes sense. Still today. But
absolutely, those peasants who went nowhere were very provincial, but that didn't stop the queen of the Duke of Liechtenstein from marrying the princess of Norway, because they saw themselves as above the peasants, But in this country, white people are still peasants, but we're all Americans. We're not going to make the whole you're half German, half Danish. We're just white people. So the peasants, the white peasants of America, accomplished what only the nobility of Europe did. You remain provincial. I guess giving this American identity allowed the peasants to mix in ways that only the nobility of Europe did prior. You know what I mean? You understand?
But it's only the last 20 years or something like that Europe has become less provincial. But before that, people were just stuck. That's also why I think what is contributing to the American loneliness is that you move a lot and stuff. But example, in my city, I know people, generation after generation after generation, people somewhat know each other. I think we are more connected in Europe because I know this guy is father's father or something like that. And you often only move if you need to study, and then you move back to your home city.
Absolutely, and that's part of it too. If you think about it, not only did the peasants remain provincialized, whereas the nobility interbred, Americans by definition are descendant of the Europeans who said we're not going to stick around, we're going to move. So yes, those who want to remain provincial aren't going to move to another country by very definition. White Americans are descended from those who said, to hell with this provincial crap, I want to leave. I'm going thousands of miles away to a new land. So yes, what you're saying makes perfect sense if you think about it. Most people remain provincial, and those who aren't provincial, to America. Do you understand dynamics and history and migration? I don't think you guys in the modern world understand what happened a few centuries ago.
Yeah, and also you were probably you were part of the gene pool that were, as you say, were more willing to
leave,
move,
to go somewhere else.
And you were probably also more religious because it was the land of the free or something like that, I guess. But yeah, people, I think, still to this day, despite that you are less provincial, you can still put the genetics on the map of the origin of the people in America.
In various regions, yes, that's correct. Yes, that's
and you will somewhat get a deeper understanding on why each state is as they are.
No, Denmark guy, you're absolutely correct. It's funny, when I first watched Impractical, the show Impractical Jokers, those guys are from Staten Island, which is like 20 miles from here. And I remember thinking to myself, I told my brother, these look like guys I went to school with. Whereas you see people from Minnesota, they tend to be more Scandinavian or whatever, or in the Midwest, more Germanic. Yes, they're different, absolutely, different groups settle different regions. Now,
and that also reflects on the culture, the politics, 100 years after that. Yeah.
Let me answer. I'm in New Jersey. I tell people this. We're from New Jersey, USA, New Jersey. I bought one mic years ago. It broke, but it was still under warranty. It was good for 3 years, and then that one broke, and it was a new warranty. So this is my third or fourth mic. I basically paid for one mic, and I've had 3 or 4 because this one probably won't break. The problem I had with it, the cord it comes with is a direct cord in. I found out that the trick is to buy one of these angled cords. I think it's a left angled cord, and this is a mini B, which is an old type of cord. So they kept breaking because the cord it came with went straight in, and it would damage the input. Whereas I finally just bought a curved one. But I bought one of these. I saved up and bought one, and it broke. Another one broke. But I had 3 warranties. So that's how
he finagled the picture. Even though one wasn't broken, he used the old box and the old piece of paper to say. So he has 2 functioning microphones.
Yeah, that's not a Scandinavian thing. That's the 2% Senegalese that just.
You mean it's a 40?
Well, we got to imagine between Denmark and Senegal, there's got to be other shit in the mix. Maybe some kike, maybe some Arab, maybe some, I don't know, Spaniard or Portuguese. You never know. You never know. Maybe some Moroccan, or you never know. There's a lot of territory and peoples between Scandinavia and Sengali. It's like,
But even in Europe, a lot of people are like 10-20% Jew or something like that. Yeah. It's only until now the gene test and shit that people
they find out exactly. Yeah.
And they're like hiding because it's so embarrassing. Shit.
Now, I got a special treat for you, Denmark guy. Why don't you say hello to Thomas? I think this is Thomas White, I believe. Hold on, let's add his last name. It just says Thomas. This is Thomas White. There you go. Say hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Thomas White. It's an honor to say hi to you.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going great. What about you? And how are you doing? And what's the time? Where you at?
It's 9 p.m. where I'm at.
Okay.
Can we ask where you're at? You're being overseas. I'm in New Jersey. We're in New Jersey. It's about 10 p.m. here. Where are you? Can we ask?
I'm just outside the Twin Cities.
Oh, that's right. You're in Minnesota. You told us. Okay. So you're in Minnesota. Yeah, you're an hour behind. Okay.
Yeah, I've been subbed to your channel, OC, for probably over a year. I probably don't listen to your. I haven't really listened too closely, but every once in a while I'll pop it on. It's kind of like, I don't know, cathartic, or what's the word? Just kind of chill. And,
It makes you feel better about yourself when you know there's someone worse off than you out there. I get it.
well, when I'm just not got, I'm just got you playing in the background. It's just something to like just hearing a couple of Joes just bullshitting,
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll subscribe to you. I admit I'm not too familiar with your channel, but Denmark Guy was telling us. You can tell us, Denmark Guy. It's like a dive bar at 4 a.m. Some of your people are characters, or we're not...
yeah. Well, I've not been listening to a whole stream, but I lurk in once in a while, and I get this. There's a great banter. There's a lot of It is basically 4 a.m. in the morning at a bar, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm saying that in a quite.
Well, I live in the Midwest, so I've actually thought about trying to stream at different hours in the day, so some of the European people can catch us live or catch my streams live.
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
Generally, it's in the late evening when I stream, so a lot of my fans or a lot of my listeners, they don't listen live.
Yeah. But I was actually referring to the feeling of the environment. It's like being at a bar 4 a.m. where it's not loud, but
I think what you're trying to say is there are characters. There are a lot of interesting characters.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm saying that in a nice way, not in a. It's a place where I like to go to once in a while to listen to interesting people. So
yeah, I've had a lot of interesting guests over the years, and I've tried to build up my channel by getting good guests on, and I haven't been working on that as well as I probably should. But I get a lot of different people on and just kind of talk about stuff, and I do kind of a call-in stream too as well. So I'll usually have a 1 or 2 hour chat with a guest, and then just open it up for the phones and let people call in and engage with my guests.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful channel. I think what you're doing, and also
unfortunately, the Thomas White YouTube channel might not be around. I just received my second strike, so I just started privating my videos. So you're not going to be. I haven't privated them all yet, but I'm probably going to private just about all the content because I have to take a break. I got to go on like a hiatus until my strikes are lifted. I don't think I'll be streaming for a couple weeks at least.
Okay.
What were your strikes for?
Yeah.
So you got 2 strikes. What was the first one? What was the second?
You just get flagged because a lot of people, they call in and they'll try to flash like inappropriate images.
Okay.
Masturbation, pornography, and such. So I do get a lot of troll callers trying to wreck my streams, wreck my channel. So a lot of haters, I imagine.
It wasn't anything that you said or one of your guests.
Oh, we say all the bad words.
Okay.
Is it flagged? But is it flagged for bad words, or is it flagged because of like trolls?
Imagery?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure exactly why they're being taken down. From what I can see on YouTube, they're saying hate speech.
Oh.
So
Okay. All right.
I get a lot of. I mean, just imagine what the left says about like a Donald Trump, and then like you can just like just attribute that to like my channel, like evil, bigot, racist, blah, all this stuff they call Trump.
Yeah. But I think that as soon as you mention something about the JQ, I think that everybody will just go after you or something like that. But yeah,
I don't like to police my guests' language. So when you start, talking about the transgender type people, the small hat type people, the homies, the blacks.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't, I try not to be too disparaging to different groups of people, but
but I think it's
you could say there's a lot of anti-Semitism, racism, misogyny on my channel.
But I think it's a nice balance because what is cool with you is that sometimes you take 4 steps back and you try to look. Then you invite a black dude on, like that mystery channel or something like that, and you get a point of view from maybe the black community or something like that. And I think that's cool that you can reflect upon what is going on from different communities in the U.S.
Yeah, I've even had like full-blown leftists on my channel, or liberals. I've had like a liberal. We used to debate. There was a liberal European who used to always call in, and we would have.
Well, let me ask you,
We had a lot of different people on.
But where do you find these guests? Are they other YouTubers? You invite them on. They invite you.
Other YouTubers. I interviewed Todd multiple times.
Okay.
One of them.
He's one of my heroes. Okay, cool.
Yeah, one of them was removed from my channel from YouTube. I think we played some black crime while we reacted to a video of like black crime. You can't really do that on YouTube. Like, you can't be playing or showing videos of black people doing heinous crimes on YouTube anymore. So I think that's why I interviewed Jason Kessler, the guy who did the Unite the Right rally. I've interviewed him multiple times. I interviewed First from Incelmatics multiple times. Western Decline.
Well, what do? You reach out to these people and say, want to be on my channel?
I first initially tried to get Hell by the Dashboard Light on my channel. He was actually the first person I really wanted to like land as a guest. And he's a cagey guy. He's like, he's an intelligent kind of, eccentric kind of, not a people person. It's hard to collab with a guy like that who's just kind of. He's a great streamer though, and I just think he's an interesting guy. So I've always wanted to do a stream with him.
Right, but again, you reach out to them.
I email people.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to correspond with people that are on YouTube. I get in their live chats. I follow and subscribe to a lot of YouTube channels like yourself. Okay. I listen to Destroyed by Foyd occasionally because he'll be streaming in 4 a.m. where I'm at. But I'm an early riser. I might get up at 4:30, 5:30 in the morning, and I just start listening to Destroyed by Foyd just because it's something to listen to. I'm always kind of throwing YouTube on my phone because I just enjoy listening to different. I like radio. I like listening to good radio shows. So I try to host a radio show, and I don't know that I'm that good at it, but I try.
Well, Denmark guy thinks you're a genius, so he must be doing something right. We'll have to check it out. But yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that in the Nordics and Europe, you cannot in any way have a conversation about anything like what Thomas Wright is talking about in a sensible way, because I don't know. I just think it's the Nordic thing but the internet has just made. I think it will improve. But if you say anything about people with small hats, even in a rational, like empirical way, and you are out, you are out forever, So I just think it's nice, and there's a lot of bad stuff happening in the US, but you're slowly getting to a point where you can maybe talk. It's like you can talk about a lot of different stuff more.
I've had a few of my I've had a few of my streams that have been what do they call it, where they restricted, where they don't get to go to Europe.
Okay. Yeah.
So some of my streams actually they've been banned, or Europeans can't even listen to some of them.
Okay. Yeah.
That's happened in the past anyway.
Yeah. We are not at a point in Northern Europe where we could talk about.
I've had Collective Dismal on my channel. He's a pretty controversial figure. Frederick the Hate is a friend of mine. He's pretty edgy guy. So I get a lot of these guys they're pretty edgy, and they like.
Yeah, but the cool thing with these guys,
I would go as far as like Hitler lover types.
Well, actually, hold on a sec. Denmark, give me 1 second. I want to ask you. I believe he came on your channel. There's a guy who comes around. His name is Doggo Food. Have you heard of Doggo Food?
He's been on my comment section. He leaves a lot of good comments. I don't think I've ever spoken to him.
Okay, he's a Jew from Los Angeles. I think he came on your channel once. He was all excited he got on your channel. I think that's how I first heard of you. He said, okay, yeah, Doggo. I know Doggo is Jewish, but he likes talking about different things. So even some Jews might be open to talking about small hats.
I actually have a lot of Jews that listen to my streams. Even a regular, I call him the resident Jew. He's been subbed to my channel since forever. Judas calls in a lot.
Oh, Judas Rabbi you're talking about?
Yeah, he's been.
He's half Jewish, half something Iranian. Yeah.
He's been a sub on my channel for since I started streaming. And I started streaming a long time ago, but it never really caught on or got traction. Now I got more traction. I get a lot of engagement on my channel. So, you know, it takes a while to build a channel. You know, you're what, you got 100 subs?
Not even. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not worried. Some of my best streams are like me talking to 2 or 3 people. You know,
it's why I like your channel.
Yeah, so I don't care about
that. This is why I like your channels like yourself, because I don't like ads. I don't like phony kind of thrifter type streams.
Well, that's why we the guy is
real people.
Right. We had from time to time people suggest other YouTubers. They suggested some guy named Raymond. So I said, all right, I'll check out his channel. We had to sit through 3 ads. I said, to hell with this. So yeah. I don't mind. I don't blame people trying to make money, but after the 3rd ad, it's like, this isn't worth my time.
It's
so
a bit much.
I think that's the appeal for like someone like a Nick Fuentes. He doesn't do ads. He's just does good radio, and you know, he's kind of like he doesn't, it's not all muddled up. I listened to Elijah Schaefer a couple of times. I can't listen to Elijah Schaefer, and you know, everyone thinks he's got a great Twitter or whatever, but his radio show is just filled with ads. I mean, it's just ad after ad, and he'll even have his own sponsors where he'll read off shit, and it's not even like a YouTube ad. It's like him just trying to sell you shit. It's just sad. It's terrible radio.
And this is just basically this is more like a ham radio broadcast, or pirate radio. This is nothing special. Never going to be anything special. Just hanging out, talking. And Denmark guy is one of our regulars. We're happy to talk to him. He seems to like you. We're glad you came on. What brought you around today? Just bored on the 4th of July, or?
I don't do anything on holidays generally. My roasty girlfriend, she generally works holidays because they pay her more money. So
and she's in the medical profession. You said she's a nurse?
Yeah. She's like a big dog nurse. She's not just like a regular nurse. She's like a big dog nurse, and she works a lot of like the holidays, and just she gets like triple pay or whatever the fuck they call it, double, triple pay.
Oh.
Wow.
Did you used to celebrate this day previously in your life? Is it something with American culture that you stopped celebrating?
I'm just old now. I'm like a failed normie.
Well, you guys, you're younger than me. You and my brother are the same age. I'm 43. He's 39 going on 40.
Oh, that's your brother.
Yeah, we're brothers. Yeah, we're brothers. Well, you thought we were lovers or something? You thought we were fags? No. My brother, question, did you turn 40 this year, or are you going to be 41 later this year?
I'm already 40.
So you were born in 85.
I was born in 84.
You're going to be 41 this year. He was born in 85. He'll be 40 this year.
Yes, Will. So, just what month? When are you going to turn 41?
Towards the latter, like the end of the year, towards the end of the year.
November, December?
Yeah, the end of the year. I don't want much.
All right, so you're currently 40, but you will be 41.
I don't celebrate holidays because I don't have much contact with my family. I don't have anyone to me, holidays is where like people hang out with their family. I'm not going to go hang out with like my buddy's family or my friend's family. I just don't like doing the whole, like, you're like this weird outsider. I'm sure they'd love to have me over for Christmas or Thanksgiving, but I'm not doing the whole hanging out with my friends, like family members and mother and extended family. And I don't see or talk to most of my family. So I keep in touch with my brother regularly. We're real close, but that's about it. So holidays, when you don't have a family.
Well, speaking of which, real quick, what did you think our relation was? You know, we were brothers?
I just thought you guys were just hanging out. Like, it's 4th of July, a couple of dudes, whatever, drinking beer, because it's like a lot of men they don't.
True, that's true.
I'm not the only guy sitting around doing nothing on a holiday. Like, generally, I like to go to casinos on the holidays because there's not much else to do. Hit up an Asian restaurant.
By restaurant, you mean massage parlor. We get it. No problem.
Yeah, we're not very social. Holidays don't mean much to us. When you're a kid, you just kind of bounce your parents.
If I had like a 7-year-old son, I'd probably go see fireworks. But I'm
right, exactly.
I've seen them 100 times. I almost blew my hand off, playing with them. So I just don't understand fireworks because, like, I get it. It's the 4th of July or whatever, but I don't really care about America. I think America's not that great a country. I mean, yeah, it's not better than some, maybe not the worst ever, but I guess it's this kind of this modern global world we live in. So it's not really, it doesn't feel very patriotic anymore when you got.
Yeah, I think it's a global thing. I think it's a global thing. I think it's the same thing in Europe, more or less, because of the internet and all the shit. You know,
I live a very
more,
like secular life. You know, I don't go to church anymore. I've tried to go to church and be a part of a church or be like.
Can we ask, well, when you went to church, what denomination were you? Do you remember?
Well, I was raised Lutheran.
Lutheran. Okay.
I've tried Catholic Church. I've been to other churches, the big churches, the big, fancy churches, even the Seventh-day Adventist. I was dating or seeing or sleeping with a girl from my work years ago, probably 20 years ago now. And she was like a Seventh-day Adventist. And I thought those people are even crazier and weird and fucked up and not, I don't know, man. I going to Catholic church, going to some of these other denominations, like I just feel out of place. And then going to my own church, like why would you do that as like a 40-year-old dude or a 35-year-old dude?
But it's funny because
church by yourself.
Our other guest, well, I'm glad you asked that. Our other guest, Denmark guy, is somewhat religious. So Thomas White, I hear what you're saying. Denmark guy, what do you think? Do you want to respond because you're what 35 and you like to go to church a lot, or what?
Well, it's I've moved sometimes in my life, and every time I move, I get to live I live 200 meters from a church now, and when I lived in Germany, I lived 50 meters from a church. It was in the same building, and that is just by coincidence. I don't know why these churches, they follow me around. It's kind of weird, but yeah, regarding churches, you can actually stratify the denomination of the church with IQ. So Seventh-day Adventists are probably on the lower end.
No, I completely agree. The Presbyterian Church. There's other denominations in the Episcopalians. They're like an upper echelon type folk. The Lutherans are the blue collar, the machinist, the machine shop guy, the delivery package car driver guy, the kind of working class dude. That's kind of where I grew up under. The Lutheran Church isn't necessarily dumb people, but they're blue collar folk.
Yeah. Also, if you stratify the denominations, it's not only IQ, it's also the need for specific type of churches. For an example, black people, they go to this denomination because at this church,
I've been to Baptist churches too. They're crazy people too.
Yeah, but they sing and they dance.
They're fucking whack jobs, man. The Baptists, holy.
Yeah, but it's funny, but you need to respect it on a deeper level, because different kind of peoples and groups have different kind of needs. Black people are more they like to dance maybe a little bit more. And
they got souls. Yeah,
I should just preface. I mean, I'm more of I hate to. I'm like a tragic or sad atheist. I'm not like a proud atheist. I'm like I kind of buy into like the deity stuff, like the deists, where like people believe in a higher power or whatever, but I'm more of a regular kind of atheist type guy. So that's just.
But it sounds like you did have a spiritual quest of sorts. Like Denmark guy is religious.
My little sister basically turned me off of like religion. I mean, she like red pilled me or black pilled me on church.
Well, yeah, but before that, you were
actually I had like a pretty young sister who like didn't believe in God, and she made me an atheist basically.
Right. But it sounds like before that, you actually went on some kind of soul search. You tried different churches.
No. I only went to church to be like a normal functioning adult. So, you've got this Russian girl you're dating. She's 24 and she's trad, and she wants you to go to church with her. It's like, I'll go to church with a hot broad. Going to church as a fucking excess man? What the fuck for? If you're fucking, you got some hot tail and she's wearing a dress and you just go to fucking flaunt it out and hang out with the hot broad and on a Sunday around a whole bunch of people and eat good food. And, I mean, I'm not against that. So I went to church mainly because a lot of my girlfriends they didn't make me go to church, but I didn't mind going to church with the hot girl or a girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah. Also, when you
be a good man.
When you look at the data, the UK. They have old data. You can see that people responded that they were actually not believing in God at the beginning of industrialization. So I don't really think that people in Europe are that religious in any way. But the church was just this place that had it had a function in society where, especially for women, they used to have local community combined with church.
Denmark guy. It's all flipped around now, man. We got we got the homosexual flag flying outside.
Yeah. We have that as well.
We've got women pastors. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fucking shit show.
But hey, just to comment on that. In Denmark, we have a law. We have a law in the religious law. It actually says that the highest priest cannot be a woman, as far as I've understood, and also you can choose if you would like not to have a female priest. So it's still kind of based in Denmark, but we have all these tranny churches and shit like that still.
Oh, on a side note, yes, Work Bronson wants to know your type of motorcycle. He rides a cafe racer. By the way, Denmark guy, some European countries, even if you're not religious, you still have to pay a tithing to the church. Do you have to pay a tithing to the church of Denmark, or is that been abolished?
In Denmark, when you are born, you are automatically opted in to pay church tax. But when you turn 16, 14 or something like that, and you can start working, you can opt out for the church tax.
Did you opt out, or you still pay church tax?
I still pay church tax. It's like
I figured as much because you talked about church being important to you. I was curious. Okay, so you can opt out, when you're 14.
It's such a low. It's like 0.2% or some shit like that.
Yeah, I knew a woman, a nice, pretty white girl. Nice. I mean, just like a trad white woman at my work years ago, and she gave her church 20% of her income. I just thought, my God, all these white people giving the church money and they send it to like Africa, like, oh fuck.
Yeah. The Mormons charge 10%. I live around a Mormon church and a Jehovah's Witness church. So I got the Jehovah's are freaks, That's
it. Well, that's interesting because didn't both?
I've known Jehovah Witness.
What I want to say, hold on, Thomas. Didn't both of those churches, Mormonism for sure, and maybe Jehovah's, they began in America. So it's like the opposite. It's American churches making their way back to Europe. That is kind of weird. Okay, I just want to point that out. The Mormons definitely began in upstate New York and became big on the prairie. I'm not sure about Jehovah's Witnesses, but those are more American religions that you now have in Europe. Okay.
But the Mormons on the dissident right has a special place because there's been a lot of. I follow a guy who wrote his PhD thesis about the Mormons because it's the last white group in the U.S. that has healthy patterns of self-reported low incidence of psychiatric illnesses, and they're eugenic in the sense of they breed high IQ people and they stay in the church. So the Mormons are actually doing quite a lot of good work for white European people in the U.S., if you can say it like that. So, and also the Mormons, if you read up on all this shit they talk about, they actually invested some time in in the story about it. It's weird, but all these weird stories in Christianity, that is for it's specifically for the female mind. The female mind loves these stories about walking on the water, and when you're a Mormon you go to space and shit. It's for the women, and if that gets women into the church, I think it's wonderful. So the Mormons actually they got something right, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't care about church anymore. I haven't for a while. Even if I had like a hot young tail try to get into my life or whatever, I wouldn't want to go to church anymore.
Understandable. I was just trying to point out how Mormonism and Jehovah's Witnessism are more American religions that have made their way back to Europe. Because Denmark, I earlier was saying, a lot of us white Americans, like me and Thomas over here, are the descendants of the diaspora who were more religious. That was your argument. So, but yeah, I think religion, I agree with Thomas White. It's a waste of time. Like, if I had a kid, I would go to the 4th of July fireworks.
Yes.
If I had a kid, I might go to church on Easter or Christmas or something special. when you're a single man, what the hell's the point? Or even in your case, you got a roasty girlfriend. You have a family. What's the point? Church is just more of a social institution, just like going to the fireworks on the 4th of July.
In modern days, I agree. But if you go back in time, it was more important because the Christian church in Europe, it distilled universal morals and ethics between different groups of European peoples. It actually made, when you look at European history, it's just a history of fucking European people killing each other. And why did the aristocrats or the elites chose to import this fucking Semitic Christian religion? They did it because they wanted to decrease the warlike nature of European people, so it could facilitate cooperation between the European people and lower the ethnocentrism in the nations, so the countries could get along better. But in modern times, the Christian message, when it's preached by women, they take the Christian message and they further broaden it to people that is not in their own race, like Africans and all these kind of people. But that is not what the Christian message means. It basically means that, look at these European people, we are different. But
all right, so here's my rub, Bucko. Like, the whole fucking thing about America's this great country, the Christian religion's not that bad. And both of them they're not being applied correctly or whatever is kind of what I'm hearing. And the church could be great, but it's not. And America could be great, but it's not. Like the Second Amendment, free speech, all this. Well,
I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I don't know what Denmark guy thinks about American politics. I think you're correct. He's saying that the church could be great, but a lot of the ideas were hijacked, especially.
They're not critical of women. They're not critical of women. They don't even talk about the passages in the Bible that are critical of women, or criticizing or critiquing, or putting restrictions on women. Like, they don't discuss that. They just, women are great, now they're pastors, and then they let them all go up to the front of the the hall or whatever, and talk about how they're all going to go to college and the church is going to pay for it.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
all gay shit.
But it's because women compared to men, they extend their emotions to other groups of people, because women have been evolved to take care of children and other women's children. So they expand the moral and ethical Christian message. So everyone in the whole world on the internet, because of all this technology shit we have now, and that just destroys everything. Because it was never meant to be like this. It has just been hijacked, as OC says.
So tell me, Denmark guy, I want to switch topics for a minute. I think this is a good chat about religion, but you watch Thomas White. I admit I've never seen this stuff. What are some other things he talks about that you find fascinating? Since he's here, what are some things you've always wanted to ask him about, or some things he talks about on his channel that you think are great? Why don't you tell me about Thomas White, and Thomas can respond? Or
what critiques do you have? What do you think could be better?
Since you watch him and he's here, go ahead.
But I'm just this guy that picks the content that I learn from and I enjoy, and then I just watch that. So I don't think Thomas should change anything. I think he uses his channel as an outlet for just like socializing and having a little bit fun.
Can you give us one example? Maybe Thomas can talk about it, because I've never seen this stuff. I'll go back and watch it. What's something that you talked about you thought was great, and we can hear his opinion?
Well, but it's just banter, It's just having a shit out of all the crazy shit that is going on, and I learned a lot about the JQ.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Thomas, you can speak up. I know you're getting in trouble in your channel. This is such a backwoods nothing channel. You can speak your mind. What are some things you like to talk about? Let's say this is your give us a brief, give me an idea.
If this was your stream and you had a show, what would you be talking
about? Yeah, I mean, you'd probably be interviewing someone, but
Well, I just kind of do a radio show, and I have guests on, and I do call-ins. So I let people call in, and I interview people, and I have I try to have a some prep ready. And then we also do reactions. So we'll react to videos, react to like thoughts on the internet.
Well, for tonight, you're the called in. This is Occupational Click Show. You're calling in. What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind? What have you been thinking about?
Work Bronson asked a good question because you told us before you did quite well for yourself. You and your brother bought a house. You ended up buying him out. You had a good job. How did you not end up? And you went to church with these women. How did you avoid the marriage and kids thing? How did you not get married? How did you not knock a girl up? Because it seems like you had a good job, a house. You were going to church with plenty of girlfriends.
Well, because all of white women in America are on birth control. Like you don't have to wear condoms in case you didn't know.
Oh, good to know. Okay. So basically, you never got a girl pregnant, so you never got in trouble, and
I had a relationship in my mid-20s from I would say age 20, 22, 21 to like 27, 28. And we lived together, and I was just against having children, against marriage. I was like the dumb kind of normie white guy who's like, why would you get married? Like just kind of instinctually knew, like, my dad was divorced. I had a boomer father who got divorced twice. And he was like taller than me and more like intelligent.
I'm going to ask you.
I would say even a higher earner. So higher earner than me, taller than me. And he was divorced twice. So it's like,
well, are you from the first marriage or the second marriage?
Me and my brother are from my father's first marriage.
Do you have any kids with the second? Do you have any half siblings or
my brother did not. My mother did.
Okay, so you have half siblings with your mother. She remarried too.
I have one half sibling with my mother, and
that's a sister, right?
It's barely like it's
a good-looking sister who's atheist. Okay, got it.
So you have a younger brother who's a full brother, and you have a younger half sister from your mother.
Yep.
Okay.
And I have like a bunch of like step family that I never, after my dad's second divorce, he divorced his second wife. Like I don't have any real contact with like that whole family because why would I? I mean,
yeah,
it's really just foreign. It's actually a disservice or a terrible thing to do as a father. I mean, even my father, before he died, like regretted it. The whole like
having a second wife or a second
wife and not, when you're a kid and your parents divorce, and that's most, American families nowadays, like their children need, not only do they want, but they need their parents' undivided attention. So it just creates resentment and jealousy and hatred, and it's not healthy.
Well, I'm gonna ask, how old were you when they divorced, and how old were you when your half sister was born?
Oh, my parents divorced when I was in high school. So my parents both divorced their second spouse while I was in high school. So my mother was getting a divorce, and my dad was getting a divorce to their second
spouse. Okay.
Yeah. So both my parents divorced when I was young.
Right.
They remarried.
Give me a rough age. How old were you when they divorced, roughly?
The second time, or
no, the first, when your actual parents divorced each other.
Yeah, I was a child. I was in kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't really understand what was happening. I mean, you're just a young kid. You see your dad on the weekends or whatever.
And then they remarried. Your mother had the daughter. Did I get that right?
Yep.
And then they divorced again when you were a teenager.
Yeah. So while I was in high school, both my parents were getting divorced for the second time. So like, it kind of ruins the whole like prom and having belief in relationships or liking women. I never really hated women. I just didn't really want anything to do with them. And it's not that I say that I'm gay or want to be around guys all the time. I just don't really like to be. To me, the only thing a woman's good for is having sex with. I mean, I don't want to sound mean or anything.
Fair enough. All right.
I don't want to hang out with them. Like I don't want to hang out. Hanging out with a broad is boring.
All right, you can speak your mind. We're not. I agree. I'm critical. I guess
I have a buddy I go golfing with. He's like 60 years old, and we were talking about this the other day. And he was just saying, I don't want to be around my wife. I don't even want to talk to her or deal with her. The only thing I want to do with my wife is fuck her. That's about it. And he literally he golfs every day. I'm like, doesn't your wife get pissed off? He's like, I don't really care.
No, you remind me of the movie About Schmidt. I don't know if you ever saw that movie with what's his name?
Oh, that's actually a good movie.
At the very beginning, he's thinking out loud. He's like, who is this old woman I'm married to? She doesn't look like the girl I married. She smells weird. I don't want to be around her. I think that's typical for all men. But I was just going to ask if you think your mother divorcing twice really impacted your
I think that's a huge thing that's downplayed in the black pill community. Like coming from a broken home, not having two parent household where your parents have stability in the home. Like I lived in chaos. You know, when I was a teenager, my mother had a roommate who was a drug dealer. Like I hung around like drug dealers when I was 17. It was fun. Got to go to beer keg parties and hang out on yachts in a river and smoke, you know, kind bud. And, you know, this is an amazing time driving around in an Escalade, driving around in sports cars. But then, you know, when me and my brother were teenagers when our house was raided by the federal government, you know, the DEA for like, you know, drug raid. I lived a fascinating child. I mean, I thought I was cooler than all the kids in high school because I'm hanging around like drug dealers and, you know, driving around in Cadillacs and going to California.
Interesting. Okay,
Oh,
but you think in the long run it had an impact, and you said this is a lot of us. We came from a different kind of nut house. We can talk about with our parents are fucking nut jobs. You're saying a big part of what's emitted in the black pill. It's not just looks or being a Sperg. It's also coming from a very dysfunctional background. And yes.
Yeah, like I think my dad was always around though, so like it kind of saved me a little in terms of like, you know, not being a fag or a weirdo. Like if you got a dad, I mean, I really think that guys are feminine and weak if they basically mimic their mother and they act like a woman, you know. So if you don't have your dad around, that's not going to be good. I don't think. I still got to hang out with my dad and shoot guns and drive 4-wheelers and, you know, and do all kinds of cool, you know, camping and fishing and boating but a lot of young guys, they don't even have any sort of father figure. They're like tuning out because they don't have a direction in their life.
Well, I'm a Denmark guy. Are your parents divorced? You're also the product of divorce. You told me your parents.
Yeah. Well, of course, my parents.
And you have a half sibling. I forgot your whole story. You're kind of similar to Thomas here.
Yeah. The whole world is the same, I guess. Yeah.
How the fuck you gonna have a girlfriend when every fucking girl you're trying to fuck or fucking doesn't even have a relationship or ever met their father? That's like my whole dating history is dating women who don't even have a dad or never met their father. Imagine your poor broad can't even like shake your. You know.
Oh, what about that trad Russian girl you went to church with? Didn't she know her father, or even the trad girl?
Yeah, she did, but that was just a cultural barrier. Like I don't believe in like the whole get a Russian bride.
Right.
Like Russian women are nuts. They're spies. They're secretive. They're.
I believe it. The second world. Absolutely, I agree.
I personally remember that my parents was divorced when I was like 10 years old, and that destroyed me at 10 years old. But I don't mind people getting divorced as long as if the children has reached adulthood, because then the children will be somewhat understanding. But I remember when my parents got divorced, and I was like 12, 13, 14, and I saw my mother date other men, and that was the most destructive for my life. Watching your mother, I know it sounds.
I don't even believe in this whole like. For me, it's that women. It's a woman problem.
Yeah. I agree.
At the end of the day, all this dysfunction with 2-parent households and how it could be just as bad as a broken family is because the woman doesn't fall in line. The wife doesn't do what she's supposed to, is be a helper buddy and
I wish my brother were here. Hold that thought. I agree with you, but there is one opposite problem. I think if you have a nut job father and a mindless cunt of a mother, you can ask my brother and my sister. My sister always said our parents' marriage is a match made in hell. My father was in charge, but he was nuts. My mother said, he'll do all the thinking for me. So there are exceptions to that rule where you can have a nut job of a father and who you emulate, but you realize is a nut job when you become an adult. And a mindless mother who obeys him without thinking. But yeah, that's a whole other story. I'll ask my brother when he gets back. But yes, I understand. Mostly it's the woman not doing her part. Yeah. But
it should just be made illegal to get divorced until.
I want to share that's a story of my life. My brother would agree. But go ahead.
It shouldn't be able to get divorced until your children has reached adulthood. That's my opinion. Because in general, that will cause less damage to the children, despite the relationship.
Hard enough for the guy to get the girl. The man courts the woman decides and she chooses the man. So it's really, to me, I just don't care what the father is or isn't, because no, the woman chooses the guy, and once that choice has been made, like, you can't, to me, you have to be a servant to your husband and quote and God. And
well, then you've described my mother. She was a dutiful servant, but she picked a nut job because she was an idiot. I mean, they were talking about how you got a lot of broken homes. You also have
Yes.
situations where the parents stay together, but the woman's not obedient. Our mother was obedient,
Yes,
but
she
she
was.
picked a nut job. So
Oh, yeah,
basically,
yeah,
both
yeah.
our parents.
Yeah.
My mother's a mindless extension of my nut job father. So I
Yes,
think it can
yes.
work both ways. I'm putting that
Yes.
out there because if the woman picks a nut job man and devotes herself to him, then you've got two nut job parents, which is our case. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I also think that
And our sister would agree. They might not get it, but our sister would agree. Yeah, but go ahead. Go ahead.
also like basic manners between men and this shit needs to be taught again in schools or something like that. Because
Well, yes, that I agree with you. You're talking about society, and I was talking about within our home society in general. Yes, I've always said non-whites are more racist than whites, and women are more misogynistic than men. I believe that strongly. And there's been a degrading of manners that my parents' generation, my grandparents' generation didn't have. Women would still show respect towards men. Now it's almost like if a guy breathes next to me and I don't like him, he should be in jail. Yes, no, I agree with that.
yeah, we need to teach all this basic shit. We need to be taught again from basically like from the beginning of puberty or something like that, because people just regress to the most fucked up weird shit. It's fucking unbelievable when you think about it.
how did you find the Thomas White YouTube channel?
It has to be through a dumb or Todd, I guess.
Yeah, I asked him how he found my channel. He said the same thing, Dumb or Todd. Thomas,
I interviewed
Thomas, how did you, out of curiosity, because you said you've been subscribed for a year, but you only kind of listened. How did you find me? Someone suggested me, or what brought you here?
I think DBF and Dumb are kind of in your circle or in your kind of these spheres, so that's kind of how I find you.
Okay.
I get into live chats on a lot of micro streams, and I click these different individuals in the live chat just to see if they have a channel. I like subbing to small channels. I don't need to listen to like a Pearl Davis or like a whatever podcast or the Crucible or some of these bigger channels. Like I've already listened to the Crucible enough to know, like, I like to kind of bounce around. So
Okay.
I love radio. I love audio. I love listening to shit. Today I listened to the Ewoo Crew, one of my favorite true crime podcast channels. So I'm all over the place. I love YouTube. I've got like one of them premium accounts, so I don't have any ads in it or anything either. And I'll pop on YouTube all damn day throughout the day if I've got time.
Okay, so it sounds like for all three of us, either Todd or Dumb were the glue that binds, or maybe DBF. Okay,
But
interesting.
it's kind of sad. Like, the internet's kind of right now, I believe there's no good content. There's very little content.
Very little, yeah. No, I agree.
There's nothing to listen to anymore. Like, there's
Yeah.
I used to like listening to Dumb, Depressed Unwanted Man, when he would just get drunk and just
that's when I felt
he'd get wasted and just start singing and shit. I thought that was the best shit ever, man. That's some primo content.
Yeah, now it's just
that's when I fell in love with Dumb too. Yeah. Okay, but go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Dumb.
I like to listen to like iHypocrite and people like Kino Casino, because they kind of like shove all these different people from the internet into like their streams and react and talk about these people. So I do like Kino Casino and iHypocrite because of they can kind of just fast forward all this shit with all the different content creators and the keeping up with different drama on the internet, and all the like locals doing dumb shit. And so it's kind of fun to like just pay attention to like all the fucking idiots on the internet. JF Garepi, who probably murdered his wife.
Oh yeah, I know that guy.
That whole story is fascinating. I mean, I'll click any link if somebody's talking about the JF Garepi like missing.
That is fucking hilarious.
Missing wife story. That some guy was from like the alt-right. He's like one of the first like dissident like streamers. Him and like the Warski Live stuff. I was a big listener of Luke Ford and Kevin Michael Grace. They used to do.
Sorry, man. I hate that guy, Luke Ford. So I'm sorry, man. I
Oh
fucking hate him.
no. I'm not. No. I'm not saying I like love the guy or think he's great. I just think that his channel is a gossipy drama channel, and
Yeah.
Kevin Michael Grace is like a paleo con who's like.
But
This
have you read? Do you know that Luke Ford, his history?
I haven't been paying attention to Luke Ford for some time now.
Go. I know Wikipedia is not a great source.
Well, Luke Ford's just a fascinating individual. He's a white man
who converted.
Came from Australia. He had a Seventh-day Adventist background. He converted to Judaism. He did journalism on pornography for years.
Luke Ford, his name is Luke. I'll come up. Luke Ford.
Luke Ford. Luke Ford interviewed every dissident personality on his YouTube channel and argued and debated the Jew stuff with all the racists for years. He talks with he's used to be friends with Jim Goad. I used to listen to Jim Goad back in the day. I've listened to just about anybody on the internet. I like good radio, and Luke Ford wasn't necessarily like a great guy. He's a weird fuck. He's a creepy, weird, unusual man.
It's just the shit about he's involved in the porn industry, and he's a Jew that it is too fucking weird. But yeah, he brings a lot of. He brings a lot of good people on his podcast. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, and he's interviewing like Eric Stryker and Mike Enoch from TRS, and they're arguing about like the pornography industry and who runs it, who controls it. It's an interesting discussion, It's like it's way out there though, It's off the fucking deep end, but normal people don't listen to that shit.
Yeah. It's so fascinating when you start delving into these topics and the JQ. You get into this niche place on the internet where you get all this great information. So you probably also know who Nathan Koffness is.
Yeah, he's a retard. Or he didn't do anything. Like everyone thinks he like BTFO'd the racists and the anti-Semites. It's not.
Yeah, it's such a weak, pathetic. I don't even
want to address it. The Koffness stuff, I don't even address it. It's like just to me, it's like it's nothing. It's a big nothing.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, but I really like the JQ shit. Really made me interested in these places on the internet. But I need to take it in small pieces.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love good writing too. Like I still once in a while will read the Daily Stormer. I used to listen.
Andrew Anglin, yeah, I know, that one, yeah.
I used to listen to like Chris Cantwell's. He's a pretty good shock jock radio guy. I've listened to a lot of these just random folks on the internet. I mean, I've listened to All Type. All Type was kind of a weirdo. He's homosexual, like race realist type guy. I mean, everyone's heard of like American Renaissance. Back in the day, I used to listen to like Jared Taylor. You can't really say
he's a legend.
Yeah, he's kind of a legend. Jared
but at Amrin, I saw they have started inviting like non-white people having speeches and shit. There was a woman speaking about Malik something Melis. I don't remember her name. But yeah, all the shit is getting mainstream, especially in the US. But in Europe, it's still like. Can't really talk about, but the JQ is also, it has a whole nother history in North Europe compared to the rest of Europe.
Well, it's kind of why I like to listen to and hear about stuff that you're just not supposed to hear about or listen to. I listened to Alex Jones as a teenager. I mean, I knew about Alex Jones back in like 2002. People have been listening to Alex Jones for 25 years. I knew him when he had hair and he was like not fat, or I listened to him when he was like small and like nobody knew who he was.
So the internet then has given you more of an outlet to listen to more.
I love controversial discussions. So I've done multiple interviews on antinatalism. I think antinatalism is a fascinating topic. I talk about the woman stuff and the relationship problems. You guys were asking about Steve Hoka. I mean, Steve Hoka is one of the original TFL kind of black pill guys.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I never heard of Hoka, but I'll look him up. Steve Hoka, he was one of the early ones.
He's streaming again. He's streaming again. I'll put his channel in the chat. Let me find.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I need mod status to put.
No, you can put it in the private chat.
Yeah, I'll put it in the private chat. I'll put it.
I don't nothing personal. I don't make anyone a mod. I had a no mod. It's too small a channel. I have a no mod rule.
No, that's totally fine. I don't care if you mod me.
No, but post your channel. I want to catch up. I'll check out some. My brother and I want to check.
My channel is on its way out. I got 2 strikes, so I've privated a lot of my stuff now, and I'm probably going to private it all. And
but what I want to ask,
I'm going to have to wait till my strikes.
What you want to private it so they don't go back and see other offensive
I don't want
things?
people watching my streams and then reporting them. So then, if I get another strike, I am done. If I get one more strike, my channel's cooked. It's over. So I gotta like watch my. I mean, I don't really care though. Like I'm kind of like coming to grips with like the whole thing being over. Like my channel's cooked. It's done. I almost got 2,000 subs, and now it's gonna be banned, and I'm just gonna quit YouTube, I think.
Well, you sound like Todd in a way, because Todd had thousands of subs and he just sort of gave up. How did you come across Todd? Did you reach out to him? Did he reach out to you? How'd you end up interviewing all those times?
I emailed Todd, and Todd became interested in my channel because I did talk with First from Inselmatics and Western Decline, and I've had a lot of interesting guests on, and I kind of harassed him. I got in his live chat. I bothered him. I was, trying to get his, get him to, make an appearance on my channel. And, he refused and ignored me for a while, and then eventually emailed me and said, "Hey, yeah, I'll come on." And I think he got a little annoyed with some of my interviews. I interviewed him twice, and I think I had him scheduled to do it again, and then he kind of backed out because he was just kind of done with YouTube. And I'm actually sad about that. I like listening to Todd. And
As did I. I miss one of the
a lot
guys.
of people, a lot of people, think he's a loser or whatever, and I don't fucking care what people think. I think Todd's a great YouTuber. Like whether his content's right, wrong, good or bad,
he had a career.
He's got a fascinating channel.
No, he meant a lot of different things to different people for different reasons. He had a career. He's one of those all-around charisma types.
I really wish he would do more reaction stuff. Like when I had him do I requested him to talk about that fella who killed his wife.
Which one?
The one who worked in the hell was his name? I'm never gonna remember it. But he worked in like the oil fields or whatever, and he murdered his wife, and that kind of story, that entire crime, that crime that Chris Watts, I think it's Chris Watts.
Yeah.
The Chris Watts crime, or the Chris Watts incident, or whatever we're calling it. That was completely it was like all video recorded, like the whole interaction with the police and the neighbors, everything's on video. So I had Todd react to that, and I thought he'd be the perfect person to do that, and he did a really good job. I did listen to Tom Likas, but not that early. I listened to like his older stuff. I caught on to Tom Likas later on. And I always find Irish Jews to be interesting.
Never heard of Thomas Likas. An Irish Jew, fascinating. Okay.
Well, they just don't exist. I mean, Irish Jews aren't like
rare. Yeah,
they're very rare. And he was an Irish Jew and a top dog fucking radio shock jock.
Was he the mayor of Dublin, or something? There actually was an Irish Jew who was mayor of Dublin 20, 30 years ago, but I don't know that way. But they're very rare, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just love good radio. So I even listened to like Hal Turner. Hal Turner was funny, man. That fucking guy was hilarious. He turned out to be like some fed or whatever, but his radio show is hilarious.
I'm old fashioned. I miss Art Bell. I still miss Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. I admit it.
I used to listen to George Norrie.
Yeah, I like Bell better than Norrie, but yeah.
I really got into like a lot of the racism stuff back in the day. I found out about Matt Hale and his entire story and a lot of his appearances on like the Bill Maher show and the Jerry Springer. And, Matt Hale did a couple of interviews with that Alan Combs. Remember Combs and Hannity?
Right. Hannity and Combs. Right.
Yeah. So if you can find it on the internet, Matt Hale, whether you agree with him or not, he's he's just an interesting guy. And he did like three 3-hour interviews with Alan Combs, who was, I think, a Jewish guy. So he had this white supremacist and a Jew just having a back and forth for like 9 hours. It's great radio.
Jeez. I'm looking at Alan Hale and Combs from Henry and
Matt
Combs.
Hale.
Matt Hale? Oh, Alan Combs. That's right.
Alan
Yeah.
Combs.
Matt Hale being appearing on Alan Combs' radio show. I mean, that's fire radio. I also used to listen to Jim Giles back in the day. Jim Giles was like that's the way to spell it too. Jim Giles was another great radio guy. He lived in like a fucking trailer down in like Mississippi, and just getting on the airwaves, just trying to interviewing all these different types of people. He'd interview the anti-Semites and the racists, but then he'd also interview like the head of the ADL and like the head of the SPLC and like all these like Jew leftists and stuff.
Let me ask you then, you say your channel's only out, but who would you like to interview that you haven't? Is there one or two people you'd like to interview?
I'd like to have
real quick.
I've been meaning to get on DBF.
Okay. Oh, he's been on this channel a number of times, so he probably won't be back. But I'm surprised you picked him because I've had him on multiple times. What's so great about DBF?
Well, I just think he's an interesting fellow, and he's been in these kind of spaces, and he knows about a lot of these different topics.
That's fascinating. You pick a guy who's been on this channel like a dozen times.
Yeah,
fascinating.
Things didn't go so well.
That's beside the point. The point is, I thought you were going to pick some obscure character I've never heard of.
I've got other ones.
Dude I've interviewed like 12 times. Okay, wow.
I'd like to get Hell by the Dashboard Light on.
Okay. I'll be right back. Hell by the Dashboard Light. You know the guy in Buffalo who lives in this car?
Yes.
Just 10 seconds, Thomas. Could you repeat? What was the name of the guy that interviewed Jews and ADL and right?
Jim Giles. Jim Giles had an amazing radio show, and it was all on archive.org, and it's been scrubbed. They scrubbed it like 10 years ago. It's been scrubbed for like 5-10 years. You might be able to find it though if you just Google it. Okay. Jim Giles. That's capital G ILES. Giles.
Okay, yeah. I just wrote it down. Thank you.
Yeah, Jim Giles, a Mississippi Southern white boy. Very he's just a fucking one of those good old boy Southern types, and he went to college, and he just became obsessed with Zionism, and I thought his kind of downfall was interesting. I think Jim Giles is dead, rest in peace. I think he died, and he ain't even that, I don't think he was that old. I listened to him when he was doing radio. He was probably in his 30s or 40s. This was like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, probably. But yeah, Jim Giles was all his interviews were on archive.org. They've all been from what I understand, Jim Giles has been scrubbed. You can't find his stuff. Fucking great. It's nuts to me. It's nuts to me that they can take all that down. Jim Giles interviewed all the bad people. He interviewed Tim Metzger.
You know?
He interviewed Matt Hale. He interviewed Hal Turner. He interviewed the head of the ADL. Yeah, he interviewed everybody. And yeah, he was an awesome, interesting. He was one of the first like
I've never heard of him.
YouTube guys, or he wasn't on YouTube. I don't even know what platform it was, but
do you American when you in real do you know you can probably see who's a Jew and who's like a Gentile, but can you see it in the have you ever met a person in the US where you thought before you knew them that they were Jewish because of the behavior and you got confirmed they were Jewish or something like that?
Well, kind of.
I'm like a.
No, I would say more from looks because we live in a part of the country that has a lot of Ashkenazi Jews, so we can kind of tell by looks sometimes. Yeah.
But yeah, there are some people in America who don't look Jewish, but they are.
Right.
So you can get fooled.
Now we'll let Thomas talk. Sorry, Thomas.
Jews. I'm just prejudiced. I mean, I'm post-judice really, but I can just. I get a sense of people. I can feel them out right away. And I haven't spent a lot of time around Jews. When I was in high school, we had a Jew in our kind of circle, in our distant circle, and they're a different breed.
Okay, yeah.
But no, Denmark, like you were saying, different regions have different types of people. Even
Yeah.
though the Europeans who left Europe were more likely to wander, they settled in different regions. Like, for instance, Minnesota has a large Scandinavian population.
Yes.
The Northeast has a large Catholic peasant and Jew population.
Oh,
We've
yes.
been around more Jews, for better or for
Oh,
worse, than
yes,
Thomas
yes,
White.
yeah.
There are much more
Yeah.
Jews in this part of the country. And
There's not a lot of Jews. Well, there's Jews in Minnesota, but
I'm
not.
not saying there aren't. In fact, what's his name? Zimmerman.
Dylan,
Bob Dylan's from Minnesota, but it's not as commonplace as
Winona Ryder, a lot of famous Jews.
Oh, yeah, she's half Jewish, I think. Yeah, she's from
Yeah.
Minnesota. Yeah,
Yeah, but it still doesn't compare to what we live with.
the North. Yeah.
We all of our lives we've
My roommate was from Chicago, so he had a lot of run-ins with
yeah,
Kites,
but
yes.
that's different. You didn't
Right.
grow up with it. You didn't live with
There's
it.
there's quite a huge Jewish enclave in Chicago too.
Oh yeah, Chicago,
Yeah.
yes. Minnesota to a lesser extent, but Jersey, New York Metro, Philadelphia,
Yeah,
much
come on, man,
much
yeah.
more, man.
Oh,
Can't
yeah.
compare.
No.
Either maybe Los Angeles or Miami, but even that, no.
No.
This is the land of the Brooklyn. This is the land of the Jews. So yes, we've had much more contact, for better or for worse, than
Interaction,
Right.
understanding that you.
Do you guys want to hang out for a little while still?
Well, he's got to go to bed pretty soon. He's got to go to work tomorrow.
I'm
I can stay up a little bit longer. Why? You want to get off soon? You can get off. If you want to
I
stay
gotta take like a 10-minute break. I gotta go and.
Why don't we take a little? Maybe I'll come back. Maybe not. Why don't we take a good night? Let's say our good nights. Thank you for joining us. Don't be a stranger. Maybe I'll join your channel if it sticks around. We'll take a time out for now. Maybe I'll come back on in a bit. My brother Click's got to go to bed. He's got to go to work tomorrow.
All right. What's your brother's name?
We call him Brother Click. It will be revealed eventually. It'll be revealed,
to be determined.
to be determined. But okay, yeah. All right. So thank you for joining us, Thomas. Thank you for joining us, Denmark guy. And for now, we'll say occupational Click and Brother
Click out.